Shout out to LTTV.
The NBA said it's in the process of gathering more information after Rajon Rondo allegedly threatened a woman and brandished a gun at her house last week in Louisville while 2 children were present. The woman was granted an emergency protective order against Rondo on Friday, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN's Baxter Holmes. And the woman said that in the order, she feared for the safety of her children and that Rondo has a history of, quote, volatile, erratic, explosive behavior.
Rajon Rondo allegedly pulled gun on mom of kids, threatened her life during outburst.
According to TMZ Sports, Rajon Rondo allegedly pulled a gun on the mother of his children and threatened her life during a heated altercation. And the woman claims that their kids witnessed the entire...
All right. So as you can see, shout out to the flight Mike who was reporting this. He has the reference from TMZ. Rajon Rondo allegedly pulled gun on mom of kids, not a random woman, the way it was reported initially on ESPN. Let's hear this report again.
Said it's in the process of gathering more information after Rajon Rondo allegedly threatened.
It says woman alleges Rajon Rondo threatened her with gun. It doesn't say baby mother. It doesn't say ex-wife. It doesn't say anything like that. So the way it's reported, let's get back into it.
A woman and brandished a gun at her house last week in Louisville while 2 children were present. The woman was granted an emergency protective order against Rondo on Friday, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN's Baxter Holmes. And the woman said that in the order, she feared for the safety of her children and that Rondo has a history of, quote, volatile, erratic, explosive behavior.
Whoa! Hey, yo, what the fuck?
The way this is reported is horrible. It makes Rondo get painted in a terrible light. It makes Rondo look like he's a violent, crazy lunatic. I know it's allegedly, but it's framed as in it's just like a random woman that has history with him, not like his baby mother that has maybe some ulterior motives. Let's get into it.
Said that in the order, she feared for the safety of her children and that Rondo has a history of...
She feared for the safety of her children. They're also Rajon Rondo's children.
Quote, volatile, erratic, explosive behavior.
Rajon Rondo allegedly pulled gun on mom of kids, threatened her life during outburst.
According to TMZ Sports, Rajon Rondo allegedly pulled a gun on the mother of his children and threatened her life during a heated altercation. And the woman claims that their kids witnessed the entire thing. So right away, if that didn't catch your attention, just wait until you hear the rest of the details of this, because this is absolutely gruesome to hear. And bear in mind, this is all allegedly. I'm sure we know, based off of the state of how things are going currently in our world, there's currently the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, and I'm not saying that whatever she is alleging isn't necessary.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
When it comes to Amber Heard, that is, Amber Heard be up on the stand lying through her teeth. We're going to do an extensive reaction to that. We're chopping up the good parts of that. It's a very long trial. We're getting into that.
True, but at the same time, it's important to try to remain objective to these types of situations because after all, we ourselves weren't there. Now, it continues to say that TMZ Sports has learned that 36-year-old Ashley Batchelor, Rondo's former partner and the mother of his 2 kids, filed for an emergency protective order in Louisville last week, requesting
having more information like this and putting it into context changes your perspective of the situation, and it will definitely give you a little more lenience, or will allow you to give more leniency to Rajon Rondo, and it's innocent until proven guilty. A lot of the times we get these allegations and people are just trashing a motherfucking, acting like they automatically did it off an allegation, so we ain't doing that. And when you listen to the story, we're going to get into the story. The story is absolutely outrageous.
There's something that we're not getting here. You mean to tell me that Rajon Rondo is sitting down, playing video games with his son, life is good, and then the mother of his children walks in, asks the child to separate the laundry, and as a result, Rajon Rondo got very upset at the mother of his child asking the child to separate laundry, and as a result, they got into a heated altercation.
It's a total fabrication.
Stop the cap.
Now, when I read this article on TMZ, I instantly thought, stop the goddamn cap. Then I seen this video on the flight mic, and I'm like, okay, reasonable, rational thinking human being sees the flaws in the story as well, and it doesn't make sense. You're playing video games. All right, so I'm playing video games with my son. My baby mother comes in the room and says, okay, sort some laundry. So I get enraged. She made the request to the son. I, as a grown-ass man and the father of this child, I get enraged and I plug out the video game console. What grown-ass man plugs out a video game console in the middle of playing with his son? And then I start trashing the place and throwing things like a little bitch.
Stop the cap. Emotional damage.
So immediately I wasn't buying that, but let's get back into it.
I don't mean to take a side here. I'm just saying there's a gigantic piece of the story that seems to be missing because I don't mean to take aside here. I'm just saying there's a gigantic piece of the story that seems to be missing because
who? Okay, so this is the woman who filed the emergency protective order against Rajon Rondo, Rajon Rondo's baby mother. I'm not gonna trash Rajon Rondo's baby mother or go in on anybody throughout the duration of this, but this is her. She filed it with an outrageous story. Let's get back into it. Here we got Rajon Rondo living his best life with his new girlfriend. Now they look unbothered. They look like they're living their best life.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We don't give a fuck about none of that.
The characterization of Rondo, in which is provided by his baby mother, it doesn't seem accurate. It doesn't seem like that's him and his point of life at this point in life. Let's get back into it.
this is basketball. You know, you can't make the NBA player has CTE argument, with all due respect. So by default, I'm not going to assume that Rajon Rondo is quick to jump into anger. There's a huge piece of the story that I am assuming, you can assume what you want, but I am assuming is missing so far. Now, Ashley then says that...
Now, This part I added into the video, into this reaction of the Flight Mike's video. This is a compilation reaction. He didn't have this detail. I did some digging. After reading the article and after watching this video, I'm like, okay, there's definitely more to this story. Especially in the TMZ article, it jumped from the way it jumped from him leaving the house with his children to returning back with his parents. I was like, what the hell? The story is really weird. I'm going to probably have to bring up the entire article right after this, but it's all over the place.
Quick to jump into anger. There's a huge piece of the story that I am assuming, you can assume what you want, but I am assuming is missing so far. Now, Ashley then says that Rajon Rondo continued the destructive behavior, smashing everything from a teacup to outdoor lights and trash cans. Bachelor says the kids were upset after witnessing their dad losing it, so she tried to de-escalate the situation, but she says Rajon responded by making a death threat, allegedly saying, "You're dead." Okay, I'm really sorry, but like, this is what I'm picturing in my head right now, and I'm very sorry if this is insensitive, but I'm imagining Rajon Rondo playing video games, this woman coming in, asking the child to separate the laundry, and then Rajon Rondo threatening the woman's life as a result of it. This sounds ridiculous to me. With all due
facts, it does sound ridiculous. I don't know how anybody hears the story and says, yeah, this sounds normal, this sounds rational, this sounds like typical behavior of an NBA millionaire who's living his best life randomly, wants to do some crazy shit like this. This sounds normal.
Respect. I mean, just putting this story together, it just sounds like there's a huge chunk missing so far, and it sounds ridiculous to me. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I feel like there's a huge part of the story that we're not getting so far. Now, apparently Rondo temporarily left the home, and according to Ashley, before returning about 15 minutes later, he allegedly approached a back door and began banging on the window with his gun. Bachelor says that she didn't.
I gotta get security. I want this man out of my sight right here. Get him out of here. He's got no place in here. Get rid of him. Okay. Whoa.
If he actually did that, but clearly I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that. Let's get into it. Your LTTV, Blunt Talk with LT, back at it with another video. We well over 5 minutes in, but I forgot to do the intro, so let's get back into the show.
Whoa.
Didn't know what was going on, so she approached the door from the inside to take a look. She allegedly saw Rondo with the weapon and asked him to stop because he was scaring her. She says Rondo didn't listen and instead yelled, "Go get my son." Now it gets even crazier than this. Ashley says that she feared that if she didn't comply with the alleged gun-wielding hoop star, that something bad may happen. So she brought their son Pierre downstairs, but kept the back door closed. Soon after, Ashley says Pierre opened the door and Rondo yanked him outside. Bachelor says that Rondo, who was still allegedly holding his gun, was screaming at Pierre, asking why the boy was scared of his dad. What? Ashley, who claims her son was visibly upset, says she didn't intervene because she was scared Rajon would shoot her. So for those of you guys that don't know who Pierre is, you guys know that iconic picture of Rajon Rondo winning a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's like sitting down on the ground and behind him his son is drinking, is that champagne? I'm unsure if that's champagne or
No, it was sparkling water. It was not champagne.
Cider, but either way, so that's who Pierre is. Now obviously you can't judge an entire relationship based off of one moment, but
all right, so if y'all just getting in here, so this is the update of the story, all right? So this is just absolute cap.
It's a total fabrication.
I'm jumping the gun here and jumping to a conclusion. But, all right, so Rajon Rondo sitting there playing video games with his son. His baby mother comes, asks the son to fold up some laundry. After that request to the son, Rajon Rondo loses it, snaps, plugs out the game, starts trashing the house, throws all sorts of things everywhere, from teacups to whatever large objects, leaves the house, comes back 15 minutes later with a strap, starts banging the door, requesting for his son. And that's where we're left off right here. And then she's like giving him the son and acting all frantic and scared. That's what allegedly happened. But let's get back into it.
But I just thought that I should give you guys an image so you guys could put the story together for yourselves. Now, apparently, Rajon Rondo eventually demanded that their daughter also comes outside, where she claims he yelled at both kids for being afraid of him. I'm sorry, there's so much to this story, and I'm really glad that TMZ's at least saying alleged, because there's just so much to this story that doesn't make sense. So, you mean to tell me Rajon Rondo is sitting down with his kids playing video games. The mom comes in, or the mother of his child comes in, asks Pierre to separate the laundry. As a result, Rajon Rondo gets really upset at the fact that she asked Pierre to separate the laundry. He, as a matter of fact, gets so upset that he rips the game console out of the wall in front of Pierre, then proceeded to smash a teacup, 2 outdoor lights, and trash cans. Then looked at the woman and threatened her life, literally saying, "You're dead," then leaving the home and then returning 50.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Outdoor lights and trash cans. Then looked at the woman and threatened her life, literally saying, "You're dead," then leaving the home and then returning 15 minutes later with a weapon. Now, bear in mind, when someone removes themselves from a situation for 10 to 15 minutes, naturally, the immediate reaction is they tend to calm down. They tend to think over their actions. So going out for 15 minutes and returning with a weapon and banging on the window saying,
"Yo, here's a weapon, I'm threatening your life,"
just sounds so insane to me. And then afterwards, he goes out and says, "Go get my son," and then yells at his son, asking his son, "Why are you afraid of me?" So this isn't over yet, because apparently what happened is after Rajon Rondo demanded their daughter comes outside, where Bachelor claims that he yelled at both of the kids for being afraid of him, Rajon Rondo's mom and dad both arrived at the home. And although they didn't have much success in calming down Rajon, she claims that he eventually left the scene. But now Bachelor says she's scared for the safety of her and her kids, writing the following in the emergency order of protection on May 13th, saying, "I am extremely fearful for my safety and for the safety of my children. Rajon has a history of volatile, erratic, explosive behavior. He is verbally, emotionally, and financially abusive. He physically
hits our son and calls him names like pussy and accuses him of acting like a bitch."
Stop the cap.
Lie!
It's a total fabrication.
Emotional damage.
Fucking lie!
Are you kidding me? This sounds like a woman that is trying to fuck up Rondo's life, ruin his public image, remove him away, take the kids out of his life as some sort of punishment, and kill and slander his name. Because, okay, 746, that's where we're at. The way ESPN initially reported this is trash as well. Like, what the fuck is this? Let's get back into this one more time, y'all.
The NBA said it's in the process of gathering more information after Rajon Rondo allegedly threatened a woman and brandished a gun at her house last week in Louisville while 2 children were present. The woman was granted an emergency protective order against Rondo on Friday, a copy of which was obtained by ESPN's Baxter Holmes. And the woman said that in the order, she feared for the safety of her children and that Rondo has a history of, quote, volatile, erratic, explosive behavior.
Rajon Rondo allegedly...
Now, you can simply make an allegation and then it goes out as is. A fucking lie, a random allegation. You put it out there, the media picks it up, and all of a sudden your image and your name is tarnished off of a single lie and a single allegation. And there's no repercussions for this. People just get away with the lies. And we see it too often too. When it sounds so egregiously fabricated, with so much logical inconsistencies in the story, it's like, I'm supposed to buy this shit? I'm supposed to buy this shit. Or is it the presence of one of which, this woman right here, that has his baby mother all jealous, angry, and enraged and trying to keep Rondo out of the children's life?
Nigga, you just hating, feel me? That's why you ain't never gonna have no paper, ain't never gonna have no bitches, feel me?
Wait, what? This sounds so says she's scared for the safety of her and her kids, writing the following in the emergency order of protection on May 13th, saying, "I am extremely fearful for my safety and for the safety of my children. Rajon has a history of volatile, erratic, explosive behavior. He is verbally, emotionally, and financially abusive. He physically hits our son and calls him names like pussy and accuses him of acting like a bitch. Rajon verbally assaults our daughter. He calls her names like thought head.
Rajon verbally assaults our daughter. He calls her names like thought, bitch, and dickhead. Rajon has made several threats on my life, saying at various times he will shoot me and shoot up my car. But now you're complaining all of a sudden. But he's done this various times in the past, several times, several threats on your life. He calls your name. He calls your daughter names like thought, bitch, and dickhead on the regular. Disrespects your son on the regular. I'm not buying this at all. Not buying this at all.
Rajon has made several threats on my life, saying at various times that he will shoot me or shoot up my car. Ashley Batchelor was granted protection for herself and her 2 children by a local judge. So there's actually been an update to this situation so far. Apparently, at 2:43 Pacific time,
someone says, what's the channel name again? This guy I'm responding to right now, the Flight Mike. Is that what we're asking?
a judge who signed off on the protective order has ordered Rondo to temporarily stay at least 500 feet away from Ashley and their kids. Ashley has also been awarded temporary custody of the 2 children. Rajon has also been ordered to temporarily turn over his firearms to the court. Now, the court's granting of the emergency protective order isn't an indication of the ferocity of the claims within it. It's simply a temporary order until the parties can get before a judge and argue the merits of a protective order. Now, the NBA is apparently aware of this situation, and they released a comment on this situation in a statement sent to ESPN's Malika Andrews. NBA spokesperson Mike Reese commented the following, saying, "We are aware of the report and are in the process of gathering more information." So here's the thing, man. Ever since the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, I've been a little bit more careful with automatically siding with the report that came out, and
now, this is the Flight Mike. His channel is the Flight Mike. Shout out to him for this video. Shout out to him for becoming more of a skeptic after seeing the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation. But I was a born skeptic. I don't believe shit. You got to prove shit to me. You got to prove shit to me. I'm not just taking shit. So I look at that and I'm like, it's innocent until proven guilty. And it sounds like large fabrications to me. You got to prove that shit to me. I don't give a fuck if it sounds insensitive or not. We don't care. Not at all. I don't give a shit. It is what it is. It sounds like lies. It's innocent until proven guilty. I will feel sorry and change my entire perspective if we find out these things are true. But you only get that when we find things that are true. These allegations are just smearing people's names. We ain't doing that. I don't feel sorry for none of these motherfuckers until you prove it.
I try to put a lot more thought into analyzing each and every situation, and this just sounds very out of the blue. Now, I'm not saying that I know Rajon Rondo personally. I don't know anything about this man's mental health at all whatsoever, but I feel like there's bits of this story that are missing, and hopefully as time goes on, we're gonna get more information in regards to the situation. But for now, this is an absolute absurd situation, and all I could really comment on this, aside from my natural skepticism, is I'm praying for Rajon Rondo and his family. That picture that he took with his son 2 years ago was a really iconic photo for Laker fans, and I hope happier times are ahead.
All right, so that's it. When I look at all of these pictures, this is what, as soon as I heard the story, I'm like, let me find any type of information, any type of context I can add to here, to this story, to understand why these fabrications came so arbitrarily. So I went to the Instagram profiles and I seen them living their best life, seeming at peace. And you, ma'am, seem mad. You seem like you're trying to ruin Rondo's life. You're trying to ruin his public image. You're trying to remove his children away from him as some sort of revenge. We see this happen very often. There's going to be idiots that, like, as soon as they read the headline of the article, they're going to be like,
he did that shit. Guilty as fuck.
I hope the public is smarter than that nowadays. They read the entire article to get all the information before they make up their mind. Allegations nowadays, just the allegations stick. Someone just says something and all of a sudden people just believe it or remember it as such, and that's not cool. We ain't doing that. I do not like the way ESPN reported this. Not at all. I know they give just a little bit, 50-second report. I don't care. It was irresponsible. It sounded like, oh, he was just pulling out a strap on a random woman and he's some crazy motherfucker that's running around the neighborhood. We ain't having that. Now, the first part of the story that I knew was a fabrication, I'm like, what kind of bullshit ass lie was this? When she said she came in the middle, basically the first sentence, they're playing video games. She came to ask the son to sort laundry. Rajon Rondo snapped and unplugged the console. Niggas don't do that shit. We ain't unplugging shit annoyingly like that. We ain't fucking up our gaming consoles angrily in a rage like that. Who does that? Usually you see TikToks, Instagram videos of angry girlfriends just unplugging consoles, turning off games while niggas is in the middle of 2K. That does not sound real at all. I was like, what? And then he starts smashing things and throwing things like a Love and Hip Hop chick.
Fucking lie!
Oh, so we have other topics here, eh? Okay, so we're talking about things that have nothing to do with this show, huh? You know what? I'm going to give you a pass for that. I haven't been on here for a little while. I have a lot of things to cover. Y'all want me to cover that? The off topic, but did you hear about H3 and Fresh and Fit? I've been preached, covered it. Yep, I heard about that. I seen the breakdown. I seen Fresh and Fit bring all the receipts to counter it the same day or the day after H3 did the show. So I'm like, I don't really need to touch this. I didn't really think I needed to touch it. I was like, all the evidence is out there. I was already chopping it up. I was already gathering shit. Then I seen Fresh and Fit do it. Bring all the receipts, and I'm like, what is my perspective here needed? Or what is it needed here for? That's what I thought. I don't know. It seems like a waste of time to me to keep it a bean. Like, I can still do it. Still have the shit. But there's a lot more things to talk about right now. There's a lot going on. But there's too much women. I don't even want to say this, but there's too many wild allegations trying to slander motherfuckers' names right now by women, in the hands of women with no repercussions. We're seeing that too often in the media cycle. Too much Amber Heards, too much Megan Thee Stallions. Now this. People are still trying to get over Will and Jada. It's just a hot mess out here. It's just a mess out here. All right, I'm going to cover that shit. Let's do that. Let's do the H3 Fresh and Fit shit. Let's do that. Let's wrap this one up. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's do that H3 shit. Y'all want to see that shit? Is that shit trash? Maybe you want to see that. Fuck it, we doing it. Yeah.